Awesome. We'll give 1 minute of bonus time here, just talking here behind the scenes a little bit. But welcome everybody to the last live stream of 2019 for sure. It's been a great year. I'm going to give you guys right at the front of this live stream kind of what in practice I do at the end of every year. You guys are going to benefit immensely from that. I've improved a ton of equipment on the channel, so I would certainly appreciate if there's something not coming through correctly. Let me know. I've got a new pair of headphones I'm kicking to try out. If you guys want to kick on here, the invitation is for anyone who wants to download the StreamYard software and pop on here. The invite I've dropped in the thread here, so feel free to kick in. You know, if you do want to take some time, I'll try to do my very best to rotate folks in. I obviously polled the community and was really interested in the feedback that I got. There's no reason for someone like myself or anybody to come on and just deliver a product in a way that I think is correct. I'm more interested in how the information is being received by the community, because quite honestly, these live streams have turned into and morphed into kind of a fun product for me. But I don't want to put blinders on and make sure that we're firing through without delivering a product that people really want to look forward to and come in and consume twofold. Number one, for the channel creators, honestly, it just adds a little different dynamic, one of which is super important to offer. And me talking for 2 hours, although it did come in second place, wasn't really the most popular option. Um, so, you know, that tells me a lot. It tells me that people do appreciate the message, and that's great. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think there was value there. I think for a new investor coming on in their 20s, 30s, 50s, 60s, doesn't even matter. The catch is a live stream of the Independent Investor channel. I really try to take the message and go full circle on it. If you're coming on to the channel to catch a large portfolio and look to duplicate that success overnight, you got the wrong channel. You really do. We really want to hit home with people who are looking to maybe gravitate toward the investing opportunity, but maybe had some preconceived ideas that perhaps the opportunity just wasn't for them. And we're really trying to, yeah, I don't know if he's talking to me or what, but we really want to reach those people that can benefit the most from the channel. I had a really interesting week this week. I've taken a lot of time to myself. So really kind of cool perspective time for me. This is typically the time when I actually go back through paperwork, which is the most, it's the most not fun time for me. I took a $4,000 bill and paid off a transfer that I had made this year. So I had some debt consolidation to make. I took an interest free for $10,000 at some point this year. It helped out a little bit, and we rolled that over for some interest free time, basically to pay down that debt. And what was left here up until this week was about 4,000. So went ahead and put a $4,000 bill on that, wiped that clean. I know there's been some other folks here who have also talked about looking at their own portfolio. I responded to a comment tonight. Somebody had taken the initiative in 2019 to scrub $40,000 worth of personal debt off of their ledger and looking at 2020 as being their investment year because they're scrubbed clean of their debt. So pretty exciting stuff, to be honest with you. Another thing that I like to do, I think a lot of success on the Independent Investor channel is trying to let people know that if you're going to get involved with your personal finances and you're going to look to succeed in some form or fashion, I think organization is going to be key for you. You're going to have to get used to organizing your credit. You're going to have to get used to organizing your statements. You're going to have to get used to keeping those things safeguarded. If there are credit accounts that you don't need, cut them out. Okay. So use this opportunity to organize your own personal portfolio, because it does transcend. Everything does lend itself to your total overall program. Okay. So if you do spend some time, and this is what takes me the most time, honestly, because I typically ignore it throughout the course of the year, but keep an organized binder. I keep a leather bound binder with my stuff in it. It helps me organize. I also keep a safe, which I recommend that each and every one of you guys look to do. Look, guys, we're not looking to invest in the stock market or look to accumulate precious metals or looking to accumulate collectibles of value without the ability to properly safeguard the information and properly get yourself organized. And it is amazing, if you run yourself through this deliberation of organization, how much that's going to help you in the long run. All right. So, not to kick off this live stream with a super boring topic, but I tell you what, man, organization is key. When I first got started in investing, I still remember the leather bound wallet sized organizer that I bought, that I still use to this day, that houses my credit accounts, which houses all of my important documents, and it helps me stay organized. It helps me at least safeguard my checkbook, which is a thing of the past. Honestly, I write like 2 checks a year, but to have a drop point for that information is key. And it will absolutely lend yourself to success if your baseline skills are organized and your paperwork is in order. All right. So spend these few moments here at the end of 2019 as you're reflecting. Obviously, anybody who's been involved in the stock market this year, you've got a lot to be thankful for. You really do. So, as you reflect, make sure that you're organizing and being as prepared as you possibly can for entering into 2020 as an existing investor. Okay. And we're going to talk about what that means going into 2020 as an existing investor and as a starting investor. I've got a lot of people hitting me up, and are they like, is this the time to be jumping in to the investing realm? I will just mention I've got MacLow001 who just jumped in here and asks, hello, I'm 25 years old. What ETF should I start with? So I've taken the liberty of dropping the M1 Finance portfolios into the description of this. And the last couple videos that I've made about M1 Finance, it's at the top of the description. I've broken those portfolios down. Those are affiliate links. Okay, so just please understand, if you click on them, you don't have to opt for their service. But if you do so, the Independent Investor Channel receives a small compensation for that referral. Okay. Welcome everybody to the live stream. I've got a ton of channel creators in here. I was going to do a banner here tonight, but Big Ben's Road to Early Retirement was the first one in the stream, followed in a close second by Gen X Dividend Investor, Dave with Hidden Freedom Investing, who's been cranking out some killer content. You guys want to make sure that you're supporting all these channel creators. Travis Williams is in here. I didn't have a chance to jot down Travis before the stream kicked off, but nonetheless, Travis is in here. Appreciate your time as usual, man. Thank you for taking the time to come in here. Money Manners, Jamie is in the group. Appreciate him kicking in here as well. Stock Investor Guy. And last but not least, here is JMac Investing. Jason's in the group, who popped in here at the last moment, so I was able to at least jot him down on the list. JMac has been come to know the channel this year in 2019, and it's quite frankly one of the things that I'm thankful for, some of the connections that I've made through the channel. I've got Ryan Giffen here in the group as well. As I see these folks pop in here, I will try to make the appropriate call outs. I will say this: if you want to kick on here, I'm chopped liver. So Jerry is absolutely not chopped liver. I actually put him in the category of one of those folks that I had the pleasure of meeting So he gets a little extra shout out tonight with GW Life TV investing and retirement. So, one of those really cool guys, just cool opportunities this year. I've got Quest to Fire here in the group. So as the channel creators make their way in, certainly I pick them out from memory, but there may be folks that revisit the stream after it goes live. So please don't hesitate, man. You've got my full authorization to throw whatever identifier you want. If you've got a special emoji, you can do that. But if you want to just put channel creator, that way some of these folks that are making their way into here. Here we go again at work, trying to get my few minutes to view. That's really cool, man. Wolf of Vibes is catching the live stream from work. I really appreciate that. It's been pretty crazy this year. I've got some closeout figures for you guys. Some interesting things have really transpired on the channel, which has really made me think about the independent investor opportunity. Quite frankly, it's solidified every Friday when I come on here and spend just a few hours. Honestly, I could talk finances all day, every day. It's totally my favorite subject, and I really, really enjoy coming on here and bouncing dialogue off of folks that are like-minded, who are looking to objectively take the and independently, quite frankly, the opportunity in the stock market and empower and enrich their own personal lives. Okay. Again, if you expect to come on the independent investor channel and I say, and you do, that's not the message that I'm looking to put through. It's not. Okay. So if that's not something you're after, if you're after overnight success, I'm not the channel for you. Okay. I'm really not. And I typically do not apologize for the message. Nonetheless, we do have some hate coming through the channel. It's an interesting, and I'll spend 1 minute on it because I was offered some hate on Christmas Day, which I thought was really out of taste and out of character. It was interesting. Really would have rather have not read this comment, but I did. And, it's interesting. People tell me that the YouTube opportunity hate is going to come with the territory. See, here's the funny thing about me is I don't mind calling a spade. Okay. And I don't condone hate. I don't condone perceiving something about the channel that's not true. I'll defend this opportunity to a T. And here's why. I've already thought about that stuff before I come on and make myself available to a social media community. I've already thought about all the little nuances. Okay. Now, specific to some of the hate that I've got is with regard to the fact that I'm getting rich selling coffee cups. Okay. Now, to my knowledge, myself and J Mac Investing are the only two individuals on the earth with one of these. Contrary to what I was accused of, I'm not getting rich off of selling coffee mugs. I'll go one further and say this. The only merchandise that's been bought that I offer through the YouTube opportunity is what you see. Okay. And I bought this for a reason. I bought it not so people could come on and pay too high a prices for overpriced merchandise. What I did was buy it for me. Okay. So, contrary to prior accusations, I'm not getting rich off of selling overpriced, cheap merchandise on the Independent Investor channel. Okay, so we'll dispel that notion. It's amazing to me the difference between the truth and the accusation. It's really amazing to me. Okay. There's been a few changes through the course of 2019 that have been interesting. We have went from a fee-based environment to a free investing opportunity landscape. And that has happened over the course of 2019. Not only being one of the best years in the stock market, but you could have received your access to the stock market at least half of the year free of charge. Okay. Unlimited free trades. Now, for me, I've been with Merrill for a long time. Okay. I've been very open with that on the channel. But when I started the independent investor channel opportunity, things were a lot different 3 years ago. Okay. People had to really work toward those free trades. Either they opted for an opportunity like a Robinhood, M1 Finance didn't exist at the time. First Trade had not been brought to my awareness. Okay. So it was really tough to be doing an investing channel where I was enjoying free trades based on my incentive threshold, which at the time was $50,000. Okay. I got 100 free trades per month, and that was more than enough for me to deliberate and move how I wanted in my accounts free of charge. But there was a lot of beginning investors who were like, dang, Ryan, this sucks, man. This 695 is kind of tearing me up a little bit. Like, what's going on here? And at the time, I had no affiliation with any of the channel, the other outlets, no brokers, no nothing. I was actually really against it. And at the time on the YouTube community, there was a lot of courses being offered, that of which were in between $500 and $1,000 per course. There was a lot of stock market focus groups that were also being offered for a monthly fee. I won't name names, but this was the environment that was going on in the YouTube community at the time. A lot of people in the group here, some of the older channel creators will remember this, okay? Portfolio reviews, that was a thing that was not offered through YouTube. You had to pay to be part of a group to view somebody's specific content. So for example, if you liked my portfolio or you like Gen X Dividend Investors portfolio, guess what? You get to pay $19.95 a month to go in and view that. And I have videos in my catalog that people still watch on how I got onto YouTube, and actually was an advocate against that type of thing. Okay. What I was accused of this week was an interesting one, in that I was turning into what I had despised throughout the course of the channel. Very interesting accusation. What we ended up doing in 2018 is becoming affiliated with a couple of brokers. M1 Finance and First Trade were the two, and will continue to be the only two that the Independent Investor Channel is affiliated with. Why did we do that? We did that for those new investors that could get exposure to the stock market in a retirement account, and they could do so and trade and invest for free. What I did was split the two opportunities: M1 Finance for the passive investor, and First Trade for either the passive or the active investor. Both of them offered retirement accounts. Both of them offered unlimited free trades. I'm not going to get into the bonuses of both. You guys know what both of them offer. But before I did start those affiliate programs, what I did was open accounts with both of them. Okay. What I figured is that it would go a lot further with people if they were sitting across from somebody and they got to see how somebody is seeking out the opportunity in each of those different brokers. Okay. So not only did I start the account, but I started it with my own money. I spent my own time in researching those platforms. And those to this day have been offered through the Independent Investor Channel as an affiliation. I will tell you, as I suspected, the affiliate commission has fallen off a little bit with the unlimited free trades from some of the major brokers out there. I think it's wonderful, because at the end of the day, the folks that are supposed to be benefiting from this low cost or no cost access to the stock market are individuals. Okay. When these barriers come down, the opportunity for individuals only increases. The barriers to entry decrease. So from the old school perspective, I got to field so much data that of frustration from the community just 3 short years ago on how frustrated people are with the 695 trade. Okay. So if you have a drink, please raise the drink as I propose a toast to the death of the 695 trade. We will move into 2020 without the necessity of trading fees. You're all able to invest in the stock market free of charge. Love it. All right. Now, another thing, and I will end with this. Okay. 3 years of doing the independent investor channel on an average 2 hours a day, which is conservative. Some days more, some days less. I will say that. I'm currently making about $3.11 per hour. Okay. So if any of you guys think that I'm actually getting rich on the independent investor channel, it's amazing to me the disconnect between the truth and reality. Okay. And if my approach and my objective was money driven singularly, I would have given this up a long, long time ago. All right. Had to get that off my chest. It's an amazing thing having a voice through social media because you can respond to crap that I get through the channel and really try to clarify it for the folks that actually care, because I would care. I really would. If I was sitting across from a channel creator and I thought that they were ill-intentioned with their objectives, I would want some clarity around the topic and really understand why it is we do what we do. Okay. And I think there's probably a ton of channel creators in this group who would feel the same about me. I think they really do value the relationships that we're trying to $3.11 an hour balling. Well, it adds up for sure. Interesting enough, man. Interesting enough. Yeah, I find it interesting. My program on the Independent Investor Channel is pretty clean, pretty streamlined. I'm open, and for those of you who have caught my uh, admittance over the channel to where the YouTube earnings actually go, check out a first trade review video. That's where every single penny of ad revenue has been earned on the channel goes. All right. Which is currently at, let's see, I've got the 2019 summary. We just passed over $7,000. So nothing to shake a stick at. So although it is 311, it is a side hustle for me. And I actually am very, very proud of the earnings that we've been able to make. It's helped actually offset some of the equipment that we've been able to improve the channel on and deliver a quality content. I really don't want to see the message muddled by poor lighting and poor communication. I really want to offer this opportunity as clean and with as little distraction as we possibly can. I just think it makes for a better product, and we'll continue to roll that out for sure. So thank you for allowing me to bend the ear. I've got actually one of the highlights of 2019 actually is meeting really two of the best channel creators, I think, on YouTube. I had the opportunity, I was on the phone with M1 Finance this week, actually, and two of the most revered channels as far as I'm concerned. I'm happy to know them. The first is Gen X Dividend Investor. He knows how I feel about that. But Joe Carlson has popped on here. And Joe, I started following when Joe had like 600 subscribers. And now I think Joe's flirting with somehow a 60,000. I always try to catch a Joe Carlson offering. So for you guys that are not subscribed in the group, this is one of those investors that's actually leveraging the YouTube opportunity to get it through to people on how you invest in the stock market correctly. Okay. Now, when I say correctly, it doesn't mean for everybody else. It doesn't mean that. What he does is he does a great job of holistically explaining how investing makes sense for him. And that is the beauty of this opportunity. And I really think that's something that's missed on a lot of YouTube creators when they come on and they just throw a one-way street out there. Here's how I invest. And people receive that, especially the younger folks who are looking for that next best thing. And the unfortunate part about it, it's like bad medicine, man. You want to believe. You want to believe. There's not anybody in this community that doesn't want to believe, okay? But I guess the closest that you could possibly get is believing in a program that actually works. Okay. Now, if it does work, okay, somebody like Joe and Gen X Dividend Investor, they do the best job of explaining not only what they're doing, but why they are doing it. Okay. So we're all the wiser for tuning into those great channels. Joe, thank you so much, man, for coming on. I really appreciate it. He'll attest to that, man. I was in the community early on, and I think I added Joe when he had like 600 subscribers into the featured channels, and he's been there ever since, and he'll continue to be there. Because I think his product is that good. I just think it's top tier on YouTube, quite frankly. And I don't say that stuff lightly. I think there's a ton of folks in here that I'm just proud to know. And I'm just happy to facilitate a discussion revolved around a lot of these fine people for 2 hours every Friday night, man. It's the least I can possibly do. So thank you for making your way on. Happy holidays to you, Joe. Thank you again. I really appreciate that, man. You're welcome to come on here into the broadcast studio and sit next to me, but I know that's not your style, but I look forward to seeing you hit that 100,000 mark. A couple of my friends, Scribner went over 500,000 this year, which has just been awesome to watch that progress. It's like compounding growth for subscribers. It's been awesome to see. And it's great to see that these younger folks are gravitating to these good messages, because as many good messages as are out there, there's a lot of messages that I think can maybe deter, attract to success. And I say that tongue in cheek. Okay. I mean, you can stumble on some of these opportunities and succeed with them. Okay. I don't mean to impugn any of those opportunities, but it really does have to make sense to you. And I know PPC Ian is still buying it too. PPC Ian is also one of my top 5 channels. I think I've just added PPC Ian, kind of overdue in the channel community. And another guy really that does investing the way I do investing. And I think Joe and some of these other folks as well. I like these folks that aren't doing YouTube full time. I don't know if some of these guys and gals are. I don't know. But I've got a job that exists outside of the YouTube opportunity. And I actually like keeping YouTube at a distance, to be honest with you, because, it's interesting for all of the, for all these successes and the great relationships that I've got to enjoy over the course of 3 years of providing YouTube content. There's an equal amount of challenges, that of which I just disclosed to the group tonight. So thank you for letting me bend your ear a little bit. I really do appreciate that. For those folks that are entering into 2020, honestly, your approach, think about you being at the end of 2020. You're going to reflect back on, we're going to have either the existing president or a new president. I think that's probably the biggest stimulus, I guess, or excuse for volatility in the market. I hope we do have somewhat of a 5 to 10% relief in the market in January. I think we do. I think we're in store for some pension plans and some retirement account rebalancing. I think that's probably in order. January is typically a pretty exciting month to be an investor. That's totally fine. So if you're an existing investor, stay the course. Absolutely. I don't see a whole heck of a lot of value in the market, but if you are starting, I really wouldn't look too much further than starting your position in a nice retirement account in the S&P 500. Okay, there's really no shame in investing the easiest and the most passive way to make sure that you are at best meeting the market. If you were meeting the market this year, you'd be up 29% years end to 2019, and you'd be reflecting on some pretty great profit. So just kind of keep that in mind. Try not to overthink this deal. The investing opportunity is so accessible now, and it's so exciting to think about it. For new investors, I always make that shout to the past a little bit, and kind of let you guys know how radically the landscape is changing and how the opportunities have changed so much just over 2019. I cannot express how big of a difference that makes in lowering the trading incentive or eliminating them in most of the larger brokers. I think it's lovely. We're going to continue to offer the affiliate opportunity through M1 Finance based primarily on my assessment and pulse of the community. People love that platform. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I absolutely love it in lieu of my primary broker, which is Merrill. I do think they lack on some of the data that is available through my full service broker. I think the customer service is a little bit better as well. But M1 Finance is really interesting. It makes investing fun. It really does. And I think for a lot of the newer community that are getting involved in investing now, I think that's an element of this gig that people are aspiring to. They're looking for a cutting edge product that can connect them a little bit more with their money. And M1 Finance absolutely does that. Okay. You don't have to manufacture some of that love for investing that I have to do through Merrill, for example. M1 Finance breaks it down, makes it very, very simple. And in 3 steps, you can be off and running in the investment world. Would I have gone through as an affiliate with M1 Finance had they not offered retirement accounts? No, I wouldn't have. That would have been the straw for me that broke the camel's back. I would not be recommending M1 Finance because it's one of those tried and true opportunities that I believe that all new investors have got to start off right. If in fact you are less than 129,000, I believe is the cap. I'd have to look at what 2020 caps for income are. But if you're eligible to contribute to a Roth IRA, my product is indicative of what you could have basically if you were a starting investor earlier on in your life and you were looking to grow wealth tax protected into the future. Because most of this wealth that I'm about to disclose to you guys for 2019 is tax protected. And that's a lot of what gets lost, I think, in the message when people come on and they consume the content. I really want people to understand the importance of a tax protected and a wealth preserved dollar when you're looking to assess a specific portfolio. Some of these folks are high income earners and they're not eligible. If you're not in that camp and you're in the lower income bracket and you can start with that $25, you're just as eligible to start investing in the market than anybody. As a matter of fact, I would contend that you probably need to invest more than anybody. Okay. It's more of a necessity to you. Unfortunately, that genre of people are the most scared off of the market. Okay. And those are the barriers. That's the disconnect I feel that exists. And that's what we're really trying to aim for is getting to those people to understand how important, even if it's just a little bit, to get that relative start in the market. And M1 Finance is good at providing that entry level or lifetime access to the market. At the end of the day, I really think that a lot of people in the YouTube community overblow their broker. Like your broker, okay, as many are there on the landscape, are they're going to provide you access to the stock market? Okay, there's only one. Okay, it can provide you access to international and emerging and all that. That's fine too, but your broker is just your conduit. Okay. So the aesthetics of the broker have to be pleasing to you. It has to be enjoyable to use. It has to be easy to use. Customer service has to be good. Ease of access has to be good. Those are some of the aesthetics that I insist that every new investor look at when you're looking to get involved with a broker. That's why we push those out so often through referral, because so many of the community members are using the top tier brokers in the environment. TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, I'm with Merrill, M1 Finance, a lot of those folks. It's just your access to the market. Okay. So don't think because you choose one account over another, it's going to make that much of a difference. I will contend that a self-directed Roth is going to be a hell of a lot better than a managed Roth IRA. Okay. If you don't get anything out of this delivery, that's the one takeaway from my message. If you are in fact eligible to participate in a Roth IRA to make sure that the designation over the account is that of a self-directed nature. You'll thank me 30 or 40 years from now. Trust me, you'll thank me. All right. Very cool. I do want to get to some of the group here for sure. I know there's been a ton of people. So Lydia Santiago, my investment journey has popped into the discussion. I really appreciate it. So I think I've got all the channel creators, man. I do apologize if I missed somebody. I'm still tickled that Joe popped on the channel. That's really awesome. That kind of lets me know that that small acknowledgement, you know, I really did. I popped on the first video that he put on there. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's really good. Really good. So what a treat to me, man. A great way to help me close out 2019, entering into 2020. Really good stuff. And we'll continue to support that effort for sure. I'm going to cruise up to the top of the thread here. So the way I'm running these live streams, and you guys don't have to, you guys know I'm perfectly capable of running this live stream all by myself. But if you do not have the software from StreamYard downloaded, I do encourage you to do so. I do have the invites in the thread here. I'll go ahead and throw another one. If any of you guys are interested in jumping on here with me, I will drop the invite in there. You guys are welcome to come and sit right alongside me here, and we can talk on the stock market as we close out 2019 together. If not, I'm going to continue to run this program myself because, again, I didn't come in last place. I came in second place for what the preference on the, on what you guys actually wanted in this product on the Friday live stream. So I'm happy to offer it. I'm flexible. You know, I don't have an ego. All right. I would just assume have, one, two tops. It's not going to be any more than one or two. And if there are multiple offers that come through and they want to sit in on the live stream, then I'll just rotate them through every 15 minutes. Why not, man? Why not give an audience that catches, there's at least 1,000 people that catch these live streams after I put them live. Why not get your 15 minutes to come on here and give your piece on investing? I can guarantee it's going to be different than mine. And that is the beauty of it. It really is. There's not one perspective or two perspectives in this group that are lock tight the same. No freaking way. And I can guarantee there's no portfolio the same in this group. Just a lot of common themes about how to succeed in the stock market. That I guarantee. And those common threads are what we're really looking to gather when we do these for sure. So it says, so Ryan Giffen says selling courses is profitable, very scalable, and huge margin. Totally agree. That as long as the benefit is there for the individual, nothing of what you said alludes to the benefit to the investor. Okay. So once you start to cut up those courses that are available and you start to dissect what is actually proprietary and very, very individual to the person offering the course, as opposed to what's commonly available online, no problem. I just think that people would be better served by taking that money, putting it into a Roth IRA, that of which will cost them nothing, taking that money, 250, 500, $1,000. That's 4 shares of VOO. I would much rather see somebody set themselves up on something like that, dollar cost average that, take that stock market radar group, $25, and dollar cost average their own program. They'll be better off in the long run, right? I'm all about the courses. I really am. There's been some good ones offered. As long as somebody can take the course and find value. The irony in the courses is the majority of people who pay that money never take the course. Yeah, that's the truth of it. So if it's that incredible of an opportunity for the person that I insist it should benefit, then I think more people should be, taking these courses and actually rendering success from them. And the idea is that the truth of it is that a lot of these folks that are buying these courses get caught up in the hype, and they come on and they're like, wow, the independent investor channel's got $500,000 and he's a regular worker. I can do that too. Where's his course? That's not true. Right. So yeah, I could make a ton of money doing it. Do I choose not to? Yep. It's just my style. That's all. It doesn't mean that I am down on other folks running their business the way that they run it. But I think there's a lot of viewers of the channel that actually appreciate my perspective on this particular issue for sure. All right. Good stuff. Yeah, so GW Life's in the group here. So Big Ben's road to early retirement, another channel creators, is transferred to my TD account. Went super fast too, only took a few days. So that's another thing that I'll actually leave 2019 and enter 2020 with another taxable account. You guys know I started the aggressive portfolio. I'm glad I did. It's interesting to take advantages of the partial shares opportunity. So not only am I getting the dividend reinvestment in the sector's portfolio, that's kind of an interesting way to invest, kind of experimental in nature, but I'm having some fun with it. No big deal. The source of that income I won't disclose over YouTube, but having some fun with that. As they flow in there, they're going to flow into the lowest performing or the underperforming sector in that portfolio. So just a unique way of using M1 Finance, right? So that's up over 16%. So nothing to scoff at. Just a little dab of money in there, but I don't know, guys, man. If you're piling the technology right now, I'd be kind of careful. Tech's up 45%. Watch at the end of 2020. I think energy's probably going to be in the discussion. We will see. Because from a value perspective, it's the only sector, quite frankly, that looks interesting right here. So, but we'll see. The idea is to diversify across all 11 sectors, weight the portfolio how you choose. I know Joe weights his portfolio a little bit different than a Gen X dividend investor, as well as me. But weight the portfolio to your liking. That's the cool part about it, is that you can kind of choose from a menu to suit what it is you like. I know Ryan Giffen likes a little bit more of an aggressive profile for sure. That fits, that it makes sense, and that's what you can gather from tuning into all these different styles and profiles of investing, is to kind of pick and choose the aspects that make sense for you and that you can incorporate maybe in your own, and then grow upon that, because you're going to evolve. All right, you're going to do your best assigning yourself a risk tolerance and a risk profile. The real test is when you get a nice 20% hiccup, which I can't wait, to be honest with you. I'm about I guess a third anyway. The numbers shake down pretty simple for me. 245 of equities exposure right now. That's a pretty good mix between bonds and equities. So 245, so closing in on the 250,000 mark there, just over 100 in cash. So that's the dry powder. That's spackled across a lot of different accounts. Okay. I've already mentioned the first trade account. That'll continue to grow over time as we generate the $3.11 of income per hour on the YouTube opportunity. That's fine. I'll continue to grind the YouTube opportunity until I've pulverized it into the ground. That's no problem, as long as we're reaching people. Yeah. All right. So $3.11 there. M1 Finance, we started the aggressive. I've shared those pies with you guys. Those are all linked affiliate. So those really aren't for this core group of subscribers. But those are linked affiliate, just for your awareness and full disclosure. Okay. But those are there, but that grew $100. This was my first week in there. Okay. I see you there, Jerry. I'll get you in here. Okay. That's awesome. Thanks for kicking on. I appreciate it. And then the 2,700 in the M1 Finance sector account. So pretty excited about having the M1 Finance being used that way. The bonds at 32,000, the TSP. So speaking to my military members, right? So that's an important piece, and a lot of military members can't even get that aspect of it right. So that's a little niche of the channel that I just look to help, and that, Jesus, they're just as much a mess as anybody else that needs help with investing. All right. So with that said, I'm gonna kick Jerry into the group here. So I'm gonna bring on a channel creator. Awesome.
Hey,
Jerry,
hey.
hear me good?
Yeah, let me do some adjustment here. Can you hear me?
It's on mute. I'm not picking you up here. Hold on just a second. I'll go ahead and continue. If you want to troubleshoot that, I don't hear you through the stream.
It might be.
Hold on a sec. I'll probably have you in my ear. How about now?
Can you hear me?
Gotcha. Loud and clear, buddy.
Okay. It was my external mic. I got to unplug that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've added so much technology to the channel. I don't even know. This is like a mothership here when I'm putting this through. So I'm gonna be accused of being a YouTuber. So
Hey, that's not a Fortnite chair, is it?
it could be. I don't know.
It could be.
I just thought it screamed YouTube, and it was the cheapest deal off of Amazon. That's linked to my Amazon affiliate
There
program
you go.
that I make no money on. You know, so
Right.
no, you know, I'm glad to invest in the channel. Once you start making a little bit of money, you got to offset that income by investing back in the channel. That's the
Yeah,
whole
sure.
thing about it.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
made $7,000. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Well, so actually, I was just about to disclose the trading profit was actually 22,312 this year. So the irony in that whole thing, and the message that I don't want people to misconstrue, is that I declare those to show people just one little aspect of what I do. I know I saw Joe pop in here, and I know Gen X dividend investor, and I haven't really understood what your style of investing is, but I do that to prove that there's a lot of different styles of investing that you can take on and succeed with. You know, my dividends were less than 5,000 this year, 49.37, right? So you got passive income of 411, and you've got monthly trading revenue of $1,849 per month. That's real money. Now, the real takeaway isn't that people look at those dollars and they're like, wow, that's incredible. The real takeaway is that every one of those dollars are tax protected. They all take place in the Roth IRA, all those trades. So I don't mind declaring those as long as I declare them and people really, really understand, you know, and I know you've been with me a little while, Jerry, too. You know, you've heard me talk about starting these accounts with 1,500 bucks. Both of them are knocking on the door to 100 grand. Two accounts grown simultaneously, you know. And I want people to look at that and say, how the hell did he do that? Okay. And I'm here to tell you, I'm nobody special. That's the beauty of it. When people tune in you know, some people turn people off because they get this air of pompous about them, and it's like it's all about the money, all about the money, and people are like, dang, I want to do that too, but geez, what do I have to do? No, you can just live your normal life, man, but make investing a little bit higher priority in it, and it's amazing where you'll be down the line, you know.
Absolutely. I started this roughly 18 months ago, and it's amazing. I looked at, I'm going to reveal my entire portfolio on January 1st. And you're going to see I think it's a little tough being a beginning investor trying to diversify among everything. And so you'll see I'm more of a higher yield kind of a guy. But what amazed me today after I did that video, after I recorded it, was how far I've come in just 18 months.
How? Tell the viewers how you did that. It's taken me a lifetime to get this, but YouTube helps streamline a lot of this information, man. It really does. If you're willing to pay attention and understand your own abilities and your own deficiencies, and the deficiencies piece is the key.
Right. And you know, the main key for me was just starting. Just starting. I literally funded, what was it? It was I decided to open a Robinhood account. I've since kind of gone away from Robinhood, but
Yeah.
I funded that with $10. $10, 18 months ago.
Awesome.
And I'm not I don't have $100,000 portfolios, but in 18 months I have almost $18,000.
Oh man, that's incredible.
And that's just from starting. So you don't know that a lot of people just don't start. And I think that's very key is to just start, and you can build upon that slowly but surely, and then you'd be very surprised at what you can do.
I just
You
you look at it day to day and you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? But if you let those months kind of chunk up a little bit and then you check back on it Like, me, that's the toughest part for me is I monitor my accounts daily. So, and it's probably to my detriment, to be honest with you. It's one of the things I'd really like to work on. And if you've really followed the nuts and bolts of my portfolio, I'm trying to make it more passive. I really am, you know. Uh, but it's interesting. If you're looking for that day-to-day validation, you're like, okay, I know I'm doing the right thing, but dang, what happened? I took a big down day today. What the hell am I doing? But then you take a moment to reflect on it like you just did. And it's like, how many people can say that they've got, that type of capital invested in the market? It's a beautiful thing, man.
It really is. And that's part of what I'm trying to focus on in as far as my videos is just to get people started, because that is a huge hurdle, and it's all mental. It's all mental. You'd be amazed at the things that you can accomplish if you just apply yourself. That's all you got to do. It doesn't take much.
No,
And
so
if you want to be a passive investor, honestly, that's even easier. You don't have there's not much to say about investing in the S&P 500.
No.
You just do it.
No. There's a little bit of lesson that can be had about investing in the S&P 500 and understanding the power of dollar cost averaging, where that S&P 500 could be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We provide those tools to give folks those answers, because if you're just investing blindly and you don't have those validations to understand, look, why the hell you're doing it. Are you doing it for you? Who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for your family? Are you doing it for something a little bit more broad, like financial security in the future? All those things help validate that. And then the actual S&P 500 product that you choose becomes a little bit less important, and you tend to focus on all the reasons why you're doing it. That's the beauty of it. And you got guys like me and you sitting there saying, hey, if I can do it, you can do it, because I'm in your camp. There was a few things you said that really resonated with me, Jerry. The first time I met you, you said you heard me say, hey, just do it. And it's just like tonight, I'm like, I throw out an open invitation for people to come on the channel, and here's Jerry, jump on right away. That's something that I would do, jumping at an opportunity, jumping on those things, not being that person that reflects back over your life and says, God, I wish I would have invested, but I never did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Really?
Exactly. I mean, just to look back at my history, and it's interesting because I made a decision in the sixth grade, actually the seventh grade, and I made the decision to quit school. I made that decision.
Yeah, I heard you say that the first time, man.
And
wow.
I had to live with that decision. I had to make the decision work. And it's the same thing with anything in life. If you make a decision, you live with it, you figure it out, and you can make it work. Life isn't rocket science. It's not.
I think it's really about seizing opportunities, and I just think this YouTube opportunity, I don't know if you would agree. I don't want to speak for you, but for me, I've become a way more sharpened investor by being part of this community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt. When I first started, there wasn't very many. That's why I'm in the camp where, I'm in that camp, and you're going to disagree with me that M1 Finance is actually not the greatest thing for beginning investors.
No. Yeah, no, I partially agree with you, actually.
Because it makes it a little too easy and fun. And that's kind of not good, because you're not really learning why you're buying something.
How you feel about Robinhood?
I don't like Robinhood at all.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, it has a place, obviously, because I mean, there's so many people on it. But my thing was, once I learned about a Roth IRA, Robinhood was done for me.
Yeah.
So, once I learned that tool of a Roth IRA, I said, well, Robinhood's just a no-go.
Yeah.
So,
and I think to your point, so much has changed just this year with the cost to entry for the stock market going to no fee investing. You can opt for a Charles Schwab now. Why would you opt for a discount broker now?
mm-hmm.
And I know I've seen a lot of interviews with the owners of Robinhood. Haven't seen a whole lot from M1 Finance. I've talked to them behind the scenes a little bit, but I've I've been really interested to hear how the Robinhood opportunity is kind of. It's still like they're going to be fine. I think they're done. I don't. They've got 10 million accounts opened, and it really makes me kind of question um, how selective people are, and that they're just following the herd, all the way.
Yeah, and the fact that they do Bitcoin and they get you into all these different things, and
Exactly.
and it's that's where M1's a little bit better, where they have some all-in-one retirement packages. What's that name? What word am I thinking of? Target date fund type things.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. I got you loud and clear, brother.
Big Ben. Oh, man, you didn't get the dress.
No, it's in the wash. I knew Jamie would be throwing up, so I left it
out. Good stuff. So, hey, Ben, so this is the first time. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Give you a little bit of an opportunity, man, to kind of give me a little bit of scope on your channel, what you're hoping to get out of the YouTube opportunity, and why the hell you're doing it. That'd be kind of cool.
Hey, yeah. Real quick, Ryan, if you want to kick me off and give him the platform, that'd be fine with me.
Sounds good. I'll do that, Jerry. I don't want it to get too out of control. With 4, it's like a bunch of monkeys in a cage, man.
Right. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun, no doubt about it.
Let Ben have the platform. Thank you very much for having me.
Nah, man. Thank you for popping on. All Happy holiday to you.
Yeah,
Happy New Year to you, Jerry. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, later. Ben, the floor is yours, man. It's my selfish knowledge. I need to kind of understand a little bit about where you're coming from and why you invest, how long you've been investing, all kinds of questions. But shoot, man. Floor is yours.
All right. Yeah. So basically, I just, I've been kicking it around for a while. Basically had the analysis paralysis thing going on, and just honestly watching your channel and some of these other guys' channels, I just finally, said I got to do it. I was investing in a horrible mutual fund. So I just decided, to sell all of that and dive into the dividend growth investing stuff, head on. It started in August. I really committed to it. I was just, working through the numbers. And since then till today, I've more than doubled my account, in 5 months. So it's not a huge account, but I don't care. I doubled it. So I'm happy with that. And then going into 2020, I'm just looking for a lot more big things to come.
Are you are you working as well? You got another job and YouTube's kind of a side hustle for you, or how?
Yeah. So the whole thing with how I started the YouTube is that I just wanted it. Honestly, it was just going to be to document my journey for me. I know, like, I can't remember when you talked about, but I think it was you, something about creating a legacy, so
it was me.
Yeah. So I just figured, I wanted to document my journey. So hopefully, I'm 37, hoping to retire, Southeast Asia, hook up with Jamie and Dave down there and hang out and do all that stuff. But, so my goal is 45 with the backstop being 50. So that's 8 years at the earliest to 13. So I do work for the state government right now. That's my 9-to-5 job. And then, like I said, I just thought I'd start this thing to document my my journey.
Good on you, man, for sure. That is this your primary? Are you investing is this another layer to your investing
Yeah,
portfolio?
so I have I haven't been doing it on YouTube. I got the 457B, the Roth 457B,
Sure.
because I'm a government employee. And then I have my military retirement coming in every month, and then eventually when I retire, I'll just have other stuff from the state coming in. So I'll end up having like 2 or 3 streams, that'll fund my retirement. I know you don't like the word. My retirement is just going to be me hanging out on a beach. I'll still be investing, but
Yeah, I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I know myself, and I know how much I enjoy working. I think by the time I reach my impasse with the military, it'll just be time to walk away on my terms, and I'll be doing something what I want to do. I think the channel will be with me for the rest of my life, to be honest with you. I think when I do end up realizing my dream, which is maybe building a house someday where I want on some property, I think a YouTube studio and an office is going to be right there at the top of the list. I know a lot of people will want a wine cellar. I'll
wine's
want
no
to
good.
exactly. I'll have a YouTube studio, man, and I just think the power of this opportunity to break down barriers that just didn't exist when I started 20 short years ago. And it's amazing how fast how fast life goes. And you gotta get on board. And it's not about pursuing that $1 million. It's just about doing the right thing day to day. That's it. It'll add
Yeah.
up in the end,
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, I don't have a magic say like total number. Mine is just, if I can build my dividend income so that, because I can't draw till 59.5. If I can just build that to where I can just, pull out that 4 or 5% a year from that, coupled with, my military, and then another fund that I have through the state, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to be this uber rich guy, throwing money around. I just want to be able to cover my expenses and enjoy myself.
Yeah. How's the YouTube opportunity treating you? Is it growing?
It's growing. Yeah, it's growing slowly. Like, honestly, like I said, I really didn't do it to, like, I didn't start it to, make the money. It was more just it was a personal thing for me to document where I started. Because I even looked back to, one of the videos I made, I think back in September, and at the Robinhood when I still had that account, it was like $100 and some odd. So, to see where it's at now, it's, that's up to, 1,600 and something, because it just transferred today into ACATS. What's up, Jamie?
What's going on, man?
Hey, Jamie.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it got you loud and clear, man. Thank you for joining the stream, man. Awesome. Really appreciate you help and support this collaboration. It'll go back and forth from a live stream to a collaboration. I just think it's way more fun to do it this way. So
it's awesome to be able to see Ben here. And I don't know, it's like everybody in the last couple of weeks since this has been going on, like everybody's story is so different. Like, I'm blown away just listening to Ben here. And even, I'm sorry, what's the last guy's name? I haven't subscribed to him yet.
Jerry,
right? Like, everybody's so different in their paths. And it's like, I could just sit here and just soak it all up. And there's so many different ways to get there. And nobody's wrong. It's like, I was going to ask you, Ryan, I was like, man, how did you start off investing? And I think everybody like changes along the way. And you really feel it's like going to college when you first start out. You're like, I want to get my degree in business. And you're like, I don't want to get my degree in business. And then you start, slowly figuring it out over 4 or 5 years. And you're like, senior year, I don't want to get my degree in business. Crap. And then it's like investing, you can change, I
think for me, in the back of my mind, the funny part about it for me when I disclose these numbers, because to me, they're huge. I don't come from money, right? So when I look at this, it's surreal. The irony for me is in the back of my head, I know the truth. The truth is, not only did I not come from money, but I spent the first half of my investing career screwing up. I did everything wrong. Everything. Penny stock trading, lost $3,000. In hawk with the IRS, not once, but twice. Mutual fund investing. Yep. Been there, done that. I didn't go with one financial planner. I went with 4. So I've been with 4 brokers. Went through up years in the stock market only to look at my account like I'm doing now at the year's end and celebrating some profit only to look at it and say, God dang, I lost money. Like the S&P was up 8%. How did I lose money this year? Like, what the hell? So I was taking all the risk to invest in the stock market and make money for Edward Jones. So why do you think I'm so motivated to come on and do this channel? Because if I can do it, freaking anybody can do it. And that's the funny and ironic part that people don't see. They're like, oh my God, Ryan must be the best investor ever. No, actually, I would consider myself subpar. Now I can hold my own. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I can hold my own. But man, if we can circumvent some of those landmines for people, the sky is the limit, especially for younger people, man, especially for younger people and older people too, man. A lot of people in their 50s, 60s, they hit me up and they're like, you know what, Ryan, you're just right on your philosophy. So it just feels good to invest in this way because I know that whatever mistake I make, I own it. But whatever success I make as well, I own that too. You know what I'm saying?
It's just you learn slowly though, man. Like, you know, Jerry said he just started on the last podcast somewhat recently, but that's why like this every Friday helps out so much is because you're not trying to learn it in 3 weeks or in a month. It's a lifelong passion. And if you could pick up one thing a month, not even a day or a week, one thing a month, and you just never forget that, I mean, you'll slowly build your experience and you're going to have those blips like you talked about. Trust me, I've had those myself where I'm like, holy crap, I had a $6,000 mistake this year. Like, man, if I would have put $6,000 to the market at the bottom, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we didn't. You know what I mean? I messed up. I learned from it. And hopefully, if I'm not insane, I won't make the same mistake again. But we're humans. We get greedy. You know, it's like we just hopefully learn from it, you know? Yeah. I want to know more about Ben. I haven't heard much about Ben. Ben comments on all my videos. Thank you, man. Thank you for supporting it. You know, this financial community is awesome. Everybody's very supportive, but I know you said you're ex-military and we're going to meet up in Thailand one day.
That's right. No dresses.
That'd be dope. Well, I'm not stopping you, but hey.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, I ran off to the military like a lot of Oregon kids. I know, Ryan, you could feel that, you know, to get out of Oregon as soon as possible. Joined the Army, you know, basically did 16 and a half years between active duty and the Guard, and then they medically retired me in October of 2017. So I've been working for the state, started in corrections, then got into, you know, running a desk. And, you know, it's just basically I just came to the conclusion, like I said, this year that I just really needed to get after it because I've been kicking this, you know, Philippines, Thailand, Southeast Asia thing around for years and just never really pulled the trigger on it. And I finally just had this epiphany. I don't know, whatever happened this year, but the fire was lit and now it's game on. So
it's pretty crazy. I've been following, there's so much YouTube, you know, there's so many black holes out there you can just like start diving into. And it's like the longer I'm on YouTube, I start finding more and more about what I think I want to do later on, you know, through financial investing. And it's like finding all these people that are like nomads and they're, you know, traveling to Thailand and everywhere else. And they're building these massive portfolios like Ryan or Gen X or any of these, you know, Dave have these, you know, $1 million, which is a lot of money, but it's not infinite amount of money. That's what, you know, a lot of people try and get to is that 7-figure mark. And they say, oh, if I can pull 4%, I could have 40 grand a year. But like these people that are going out there and traveling 365 on less than that, I'm like, holy crap. Like I just read the book. It said, Quit Like a Millionaire. I think Christy Chen is her name. She literally traveled for an entire year to countries around the world, some expensive like Switzerland, some cheap like Thailand, and on less than 40,000. So she traveled an entire year on her portfolio and actually made money.
That's insane. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, I want to get in the travel too. Like other than finance channels, all the rest of the channels I'm subscribed to are like travel vloggers. I just absolutely love it. And that's what I want to get into. And, you know, it's basically like they say, if you're looking for a flight origination that's other than the United States, if you're originating outside of the US, travel is so much less expensive. And because I'm big into the Asian culture, I haven't met an Asian food that I don't like yet. You know, I know you guys could maybe tell, but I mean, but you know, there's so many countries and they're so close geographically. Yeah. You know, I mean, you can go from the Philippines to Thailand, Vietnam, Japan, go down to Australia. I mean, it's all right there. So I can still travel for cheap. My home base is inexpensive. So that's why, I mean, yeah, it'd be great to get that 7-figure number, but like I told Ryan, I just want to be able to cover my expenses. You know, I'm super simple, so I'm not going to have this extravagant big house. I just need a roof to sleep under and call it a day.
I have a little story to tell, man. It's a sea story, but all my sea stories are true.
Does it start with this one time I was so drunk.
Check out my Facebook. Check out my Facebook page, man. I don't exaggerate my fish stories. For real. No, but when I was 18, I left Oregon, right? So went commercial fishing, and a ton of the guys that I worked with up there, guys and gals, actually, that kind of lived that nomad lifestyle, the free spirit lifestyle. They'd fish up in Alaska, and then they'd end up in either the Philippines or Puerto Rico. So, and you know, the little bit of money that they'd make up there, they'd take it to those places, and they'd live for the remainder of the season, off season, just within their means, and boom, back up to Alaska. It's just amazing, you know, because we get so caught up in this day to day. People just go to work and they come home. They go to work, they come home. They sleep, they go to work, they get into this routine. And it's like, it's so refreshing to hear people that are looking to kind of break out a little bit of that rut, you know. It's pretty cool.
I mean, all three of us, and I'm not trying to dog on anybody that hasn't done this or served, but we've all served. And that's the one probably huge opportunity is if I didn't join service, I would have not gone to 15 or more countries than I have right now. And I was almost forced to go, you know, on different missions and stuff. And just looking back now, I would have probably been to Mexico, Arizona, and maybe a couple other states sprinkled throughout it too. But, you know, something, Ben, you were talking about earlier, you know, there's a separation between a traveling YouTube channel and a financial YouTube channel, but there is a gray area in between. Like I was talking about in the previous video, I was talking about where you can travel to Thailand and something like that for a portion of the year, which could lower your expenses, you know, considerably for retirement, or, you know, I don't know what Ryan calls it, early freedom, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. We need to come up with something.
Yeah.
So that he feels comfortable.
Somebody, was it Rebecca, said had, you know, renamed the FIRE movement. It was like financial independence retired, or not retired. I don't know what she said, but we'll figure out what that was. But yeah, totally traveling around. What was that?
I don't know, man. The thing about it is, like, I don't mean to come across. My point is very simple. Like, the U.S. is such an amazing place for opportunity.
Definitely.
And when you travel abroad, for sure, you get to see that different side about how lucky we are. And so I guess I feel a little bit guilty saying I'm going to retire, knowing that there's so much work to be done in the world, you know? And if I had an opportunity, that's part of the reason why I like to leverage this opportunity, because if we can empower people beyond what they would have, you know, been predestined for, I think that's an amazing thing. I think that a lot of people who become successful over their life, they don't come from money. That's the irony in the whole thing. And I think people who ironically have money have such an opportunity to give back. And I'm sure some do. I hope they are, because the world needs that. Absolutely. His whole life is about philanthropy, you know, in conjunction with some other big players. And what a difference, man. Feeding a lot of people and providing water, clothing for people. That's legit, you know.
But you are trying to do that, though. I mean, I don't know if you've kind of hit on that, you know, talking about like the FIRE movement and stuff. What you want to actually do when you become financially free is continue your YouTube channel. And that in itself is more of giving back to people than probably actual financial dollars, because you can only give them so much, but the money that they make every 2 weeks, teaching them how to funnel that for the rest of their life, you're teaching them how to fish. You know what I mean? And that's like, I don't think I could say it any better right there. You know what I mean? Like that means more than any dollar amount you could ever give them. And so some 18-year-old kid pops onto your channel, which I'm sure there are, and they find this and they take it to heart and they actually apply it. That's priceless right there, man. So, I mean, you having that YouTube studio, I mean, we're talking an extra bedroom in your house. I think you should make a YouTube studio in the wine cellar is what I'm saying. I'm going to make one in a cigar cellar, in a cigar humidor with a rack of wine.
I never said for a second not to dream big, man. I love that. I love hearing people's dreams, man. I that's what keeps it. That's what life's all about, man. I mean, what are you striving toward? You know, I just like when people elaborate a little bit more than to just say, hey, I'm looking to retire. You know what I'm saying? Give me something. What does that mean? What are you striving for? What keeps you going day to day? You know, why put money away that you could just as easily blow and get short-term satisfaction on? You know what I'm saying? I think that's pretty awesome. I have another channel creator who wants to have some time here. Do you mind kicking off for a bit, Ben? And
No, that's good. I'm good, man.
Thank you, man. I'll move Jamie over here, and I'm going to kick on Stock Investor as well. This is a channel creator that I haven't had the opportunity to meet, and I'm going to leave the YouTube opportunity to you for a second. Jamie, you're going to run the Independent Investor live stream right now. All right, but I'm going to pop this in. I'm going to step away for like 2 seconds. And you got it. Stock Investor guy, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Hi, Ryan.
I got you loud and clear. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to step away for like 2 seconds, you guys. Jamie, it's on you. You're the captain. Don't run us ashore.
Cool, man. Your name's Ben?
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to get that straight.
Hi, Stock Investor guy on YouTube.
Gotcha. Can you tell us about yourself? I've never met you before. I'm not sure if I've seen your channel.
Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you. Your name?
Jamie.
Oh, Jamie. Nice to meet you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I've been investing for about almost 8 years, since 2012. I do want to do a full disclosure. Right now, currently, I'm not invested in the market. I had to sell out just because of financial situations I'm going through, but I do enjoy investing. It's one of my passions. And I do plan on getting back in the market early next year. So full disclosure there. Some of my heroes, probably a lot of people in the chat can relate to this. Warren Buffett. I'm more of a long-term value investor. I consider myself. I'd like to follow that philosophy. I'm also, my channel is a very small channel. I only have like 40 subscribers or something. But I also believe in like business history and learning from the past and learning from like studying the crashes, like 1929 crash, the Great Depression, the Nifty 50 in the 70s, the go-go 60s, like when, conglomerates were all combining. So I like to study business history to be able to apply that to my current investing. Also, I'm just equities focused. I really don't do bonds. I just focus strictly on equities. I do feel that everybody should own the S&P 500 and should have at least a percentage of their portfolio in the S&P 500. But beyond that, I like to invest in individual equities and just research companies, research annual reports, listen to conference calls, and things like that. But you can't beat it with the S&P 500. I think I read a study in Forbes or one of the financial magazines where even if you got in at the top of the market, at the top of the S&P 500, you still did very well if you held that position for like the next 20 years. So you can't beat it. What else? Let's see. Why I invest? Why do I invest? I enjoy it. I know some people came on here. They said, it's retirement. I'm looking for, my family is. I sincerely do enjoy it, guys. It's for me, it's not really all about the money. I sincerely do enjoy researching these companies, reading those annual reports, studying accounting, learning, just learning. And I just sincerely enjoy it. So it's to me, it's really not about the money. I mean, yeah, the money's good. It's nice to win, but I enjoy the process of investing.
Yeah, sure helps, huh?
Yeah. What was your first name again? Stock Investor guy.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, awesome. Great to meet you, man. So you've said a ton of stuff that's actually kind of it stuck with me. Said you're out of the market right now. Got an interesting small channel that you're looking to build. Good on you, man. That's pretty awesome. The stock market, man, needs to be looked at as being a place that everybody can participate in. So I don't really look at it like since you aren't involved in the market or you are. I just think that everybody should seek out the opportunity to become involved. So I really appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing your story. That's pretty legit. Where are you hailing from by chance?
I'm from Southern California. I live in a town called Hesperia, California. It's about 50 miles from Los Angeles, northeast of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I used to commercial fish out of San Pedro.
Yeah, yeah. So also
You said Pedro? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
Pedro.
another thing with investing, guys, is you also have to understand your psychology, and you have to understand yourself as a person, because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
tempting, when you have those gains, to want to sell out and take all that profit. But you have to understand that if you have a good company, those are hard to find. And if you have a really good company, don't be tempted to take those profits right away, and hold it for the long term if it truly is a good company. And I'm kind of just repeating what Warren Buffett says here. I also feel that, and I know Ryan is more like the fun, build a portfolio type investor. I feel like Warren Buffett says that I only really want like a 20 card punch card with 20 stocks, and that's all I really want, because when you focus on those 20 stocks, or finding those great companies, that's when you're really going to find the true value, rather than just buying like holding like 100 stocks or something. For that, I just focus just by the S&P 500, hold 20% of it in there. But the rest of the equities, just like my top is just to invest in like 20 companies, and that's it.
Dang, I look forward to listening to you more, man. That's awesome. I really appreciate you kicking on. You talk like it's surprising you're not in the market right now, but
Yeah, I'm not.
I
I
heard
just
you
want
say
to
that.
take full disclosure that I'm not. I am going to jump back in probably like in February or March. I'm going to be getting back into the market, but currently, I just want to be sincere here that I'm not invested in the market. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. Listen, if there's one person that hears your story, Jimmy, and is like, wow, that I can resonate, I can relate. That's what it's all about. Be honest
But
with
my
you.
Merrill Edge account is still active. At one point, the highest I ever held was like $17,000. That's the max I've ever had in the account. So again, full disclosure, I want to be super honest with you guys. For the people that want to join my channel, that's the most I've ever had invested in the market is like 17,000. And I only use Merrill Edge. I'm not familiar with the other platforms.
Yeah, I've been with Merrill for a while now, actually a long time, and I don't see myself going away from them. I think when I mentioned the discount brokers the way I do, I really think the necessity to own them will dissolve away. It's hard for me to say that because I know how popular M1 Finance specifically is with a lot of people. A lot of
Right.
people really like it. Hell, a lot of people like Robinhood. And who am I? Who am I to say, if a lot of people can make Robinhood a success, I just contend that there's a specific path that you have to be on to justify an account like Robinhood. And it could be a taxable broker for you, but not a primary account, not a primary broker, as far as I'm concerned.
They don't have the Roth in there. That's the huge thing. They don't have a retirement account in there. I mean, if they had that,
Not for me.
I think they would be a 10 times player right now. They would.
It just makes me think why they can't.
Why they
If they've
don't.
chosen not to, or they've chosen not to, how can a company like M1 Finance and a First Trade, which are discount brokers, in my opinion, offer that? And then to have somebody like Robinhood with 10 million customers and they can't get it right. Like they can't even get a high yielding savings account or checking account right. Let alone offering a super important benefit to people. That's the income from, little bit of earned dollars all the way up to that $129,000 mark. That's a lot. That captures a lot of people. And you got to look at that retirement account, man, as a primary option, in my opinion.
And as investors, guys, we also have to remember that the two things that we are trying to beat is inflation. We have to watch inflation, what inflation is doing, and our taxes. So, because both of those things are very important to an investor, or should be very important to an investor as well.
Primary reason to invest is
right
to keep pace with inflation.
Correct.
That's actually why I at least hold a small percentage. I think I'm about 12%, Jimmy, right now in the bond aspect. And I know there's a lot of people who are part of the YouTube community, and I know there's a lot of young investors who don't even want to say the word bond. But I tell you what, it was one of the top investments that I made first of the year. Bonds were on fire. I took a $2,000 bill right off the top of my bond portfolio. Now, they didn't do squat in the fourth quarter. Stocks outperformed, of course, which they typically do. But I'm satisfied with my little 12% that could in the little bond section. I like how they perform. I set them up. I forget them. I own the exposure through Vanguard and Merrill. That allocation tool that's in Merrill helps me understand how much of my portfolio, even as an aggressive investor, should be allocated to a small aspect of bond, which the recommendation is around 11 or 12%. I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
When did you start? When did you start with bonds, Ryan? How many years of your investing career did you go without having bonds?
Nah, man, just this year, 2019. I
Just
really
started,
shouldn't
huh?
disclose. I just started. I mean, I'm 43 years old, so appropriate maybe for my age. I think if I were in my 20s or 30s, I could certainly entertain somebody having a full passive ETF portfolio or a stock portfolio. I say that tongue in cheek because I know a lot of people don't understand what type of tolerance it takes to be a single stock investor. Most will fail. So I hate to say that openly, like it's some sort of option that a lot of people can get into, and you can do all the homework that you want. You can buy into an equity and it can go down. Case in point, my first trade performance this year lagged the market severely because I had a lot of winners in the account, but I had two losers, Nokia and Halliburton, right? Both companies that, they were good to buy, they just didn't work out and they lagged the portfolio. Had I just invested in the market, geez,
Right, exactly.
28%, that's tough to beat, man.
Yeah, I don't think any hedge fund managers or not many hedge fund managers beat the market this year.
Nah, man, it was too tricky.
I
Yeah.
think it's supposed to be what 15% of mutual fund managers beat the market, but by like this much.
4%.
Is it worth it? The 4%? 4%.
Yeah, 96% will fail to meet the index. The irony in that statistic is that 96%, it revolves year to year, and that statistic remains constant throughout the years.
Right.
It's just that the top 4% aren't always the same top 4%. So if they could consistently do it, yeah, that would be one thing. But how much risk are they having to take with other people's money to get that outperformance? That's the scary part. That's
Well,
the piece that
The irony of it is your channel is called Independent Investor, and these guys are handling massive amounts of money, and their ability to liquidate and move in and out of different funds is not as easy as somebody as you and I with small amounts. They're having to move massive amounts of these portfolios, which are changing the stock market like that. So for you and I to throw $1,000, $20,000, that's not even making a blip on the screen compared to millions of dollars. You know what I mean? So it's like, between that and going back to what Jimmy was talking about too, it's emotional. Everything is emotional in stock investing. And the more you handle your bar of soap, the less you have. So it's like, I don't like if you're gonna be trying to be a day trader, it's going to be even more difficult because you're going to feel like if I'm not doing something, I'm not doing something. But the less you do, the more you make. A lot of times you just write it out, don't touch it. If you can turn your cheek, most of the time it turns out for the better.
Yeah. And with all due respect to everybody on the chat and to you guys, but I'm totally against day trading. I think it's just like gambling. It's not at all my philosophy or what I follow. I'm of the Warren Buffett philosophy. Invest for the long term, do value investing, find true value in a company, and hold it for the long term. And so, to me, day traders, I mean, to each his own. I respect everybody, but to me, day trading is really not investing. I think it's just, might as well just go to Vegas.
I lost $3,000. That's the real story. That's my small stint of, and I'm the same. I recommend people totally against it. The little bit of profit that I rendered at the top of the live stream where I told people how this year went, that was some swing trading profit that I took in the portfolio. Mm-hmm. And I don't recommend that to everybody. I don't. I pay pretty good attention to the market. So to each his own, as far as that goes. I certainly would consider swing trading a little bit different than day trading. And I don't want to turn people off of that opportunity because, again, to each his own. And I think a lot of people tune into the YouTube community to hear out a true testimonial. Well, that's true. I guess if I had lost 20 grand this year, I guess that would be a great entertainment too, to come on and say, hey, I lost 20 grand. That wasn't the case. You know, I made 22 grand this year.
It's
Just
tempting.
to
It's tempting when you have those profits, you know, you want to sell them. But what I spoke with on one of my channels, one of my videos, is you can also do like what's called a stop loss order, you know, to like make sure you secure those profits so that if the stock did go down, it would automatically sell. At a certain point, you don't lose your profits. Yeah. I mean, that's one option you have besides day trading.
I think the cool part about, and I hope people appreciate this, you know, on my channel, I like to exploit every different style, not one being more right than the other. I think there's an argument there to be had with regard to the primary passive option. I really think there's a lot to be had in getting new investors turned onto the market and looking no further than passive investing. Passive investing has made people wealthy over time. There's no doubt about it. And if you pay particular attention, for example, to a Gen X dividend investor video, which as phenomenal as they are, if you look at the comparative, when he looks at those single stocks and looks at how some of them have underperformed over time relative to the market, the question becomes, is it worth it? Is it worth it to seek out that? And the answer for him, and I don't want to speak for him, is probably yes. It's worth it. It's worth going for that extra additional appreciation potential, as opposed to just putting your money to sleep in the S&P 500. But putting your money to sleep in the S&P 500 has been tried and true, proven over time.
Yeah, no. Yep, absolutely.
I mean, there's just there's no argument against that.
That's true.
And I think people need to really look at the investing opportunity as a multi-layered opportunity. Like me, I've got my TSP opportunity. That is completely passive in nature. And then I've got an aspect to my portfolio, a rather large aspect that is passive in nature as well, right? And then I've got an aspect that's dividend driven. I've got an aspect that I do kind of selectively take some trading positions in. Bristol Myers Squibb was a perfect example of one that I took in the 50s, and I just sold the position this week because it was fairly valued. It was undervalued at the time that I bought it, and it was fairly valued at the time that I sold it. That's rendering profit over the course of a 2 or 3 week investment. That it was there for the taking, so I took it. And that's just a small aspect of the portfolio that kind of proves that strategy is a viable one. If you're willing to.
Ryan, sorry, I don't know if your audience knows about this, but something I use when I'm researching companies is something called the value line. These are available at the library. And a very important number in here is the return on total capital, because it basically tells you how good a company is deploying their capital and what kind of return they're getting on that capital. So that's a number that I really look at. Not to say that's the only number I look at, but that is a very important number, the return on total capital.
Do you look at Trefis on Merrill?
Trefis? No.
Yeah, it's a free service, one of many that they have. Check that out.
Okay.
You'll remember that I recommended that you check that out. It's free of charge.
Yeah. When I first started investing in 2012, I would go to the downtown Los Angeles Public Library and I would sit with the value line, which is like a 3-ring binder that's this thick. And I would just read through those reports, all those reports. And I saw a lot of good opportunities back in 2012, but what is it? Hindsight is 2020, right?
Yeah. This product that I'm telling you about, I believe it was 3 college students from MIT, if I'm not mistaken. And these 3 college students invented this stock valuation tool that has actually been sold to Bank of America. Oh, okay. And it's actually one of the features that you can link over to free of charge again. And it gives you those metrics, that as well as many, many others to kind of show you whether or not a stock is undervalued at fair value or completely overvalued, which Apple right now is actually overvalued. Interestingly enough, if not to strike up a conversation on a stock that you can buy and hold forever, it's overvalued, right? And that's where you can get those metrics on a lot of these names that you may not be sure of. They run all that data and analytics for you. It's pretty legit. Check it out.
Thank you. Yeah,
I got 2 things real fast. One, For anybody that hasn't smashed the thumbs up, like symbol, go ahead and do that. But for two, my second thing is you've been using Merrill Edge for a long time. You've had, you said 4 different brokers over your investing career. What does Merrill Edge compare to like M1 now? For myself, I am heavily invested in TSP and M1 for the majority of my holdings. For somebody like myself saying, hey, when I get to $100,000, $150,000, and I'm thinking about moving out of one of these free trading platforms, you're talking about these other metrics from something like Merrill. What are those types of things that are offered from a big name broker that you've been using for a long time that like M1 just doesn't offer?
Doesn't compare. I would switch now. If I was sitting in your chair,
Yeah,
and I asked myself the same question and I expected an honest answer, I'd switch now. It doesn't compare. I do the M1 finance. I'm using those accounts strategically. Okay, pay particular attention. For example, the Spider portfolio. I'm investing in all 11 sectors. I fund it. Those fundings go in to fund the lowest aspect of that portfolio. I can only do that in M1 finance. So I'm looking to exploit the M1 opportunity for what little niche of a service that they offer and circumvent the unacceptable one-day trading window. It's unacceptable.
So you're just trying to test their algorithm of investing in the lower stock and seeing if that can help outperform in the long run.
I enjoy it because if you look at both of my M1 finance portfolios, they're rather small. Okay. I'm looking at investing in the growth aspect in M1 finance because of the fractional shares, right? I want exposure to Amazon. I want exposure to Booking and Google and Facebook and Adobe. I want those companies, but to a relative scale. Okay. So that $5,000 is spread out across those 12 names made possible only by M1 finance. Okay. Now there's discussion on the landscape about going to fractional, right?
Yeah.
But M1 finance only allows that opportunity. So I'm leveraging those key features and giving up a lot of what I contend investors should demand through a full service broker. Merrill, I'm not going anywhere. I would switch. I would switch as of yesterday. That's my honest advice. That's why people tune into me, honestly. And that's why I don't mind taking an affiliate commission for offering these opportunities, because I just don't have the people coming back to me and saying, Ryan, M1 sucks. It's the contrary. People love that platform. They love it. So what can I do? I can go on there, show the functionality. It can get people used to investing as long as they do it my way. Do it passively. If you want to sit there and try to trade stock on M1 finance, you're going to be just as frustrated as I was the first time when I left. I closed the account. I was so pissed off. I closed it down, right? I do not like being restricted. In this environment nowadays, why are people accepting less than adequate services? When you're talking about a Fidelity or a TD Ameritrade or a Merrill, some of the major brokers that have just, hey, they woke up. What can I say? The investing landscape, man, it freaking changes. And no bigger change in 2019 was the reduction of fees, man, and put these major brokers on par with some of these, what they had exclusively is now not exclusive anymore, right?
Yeah, everybody's got Robinhood's superpower now. And that's the thing at this point in my career where I'm starting to get some, small rolling dividends every month. And I'm like, hey, I can actually start buying full shares of things with just dividends. And of course, contributions, to help that out. But now I'm like, hey, do I really need M1? Would I be better off going somewhere else with better research tools and customer service and just, peace of mind with a broker like that? Or am I happy with M1? Am I at that point of transition right now? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to figure that out. And I haven't really had enough sit down.
Jamie, from day one, I've considered M1 Finance and First Trade a springboard. That's what I've considered it. It's a springboard. So when you feel like doing what Lydia, I've got her question on the screen here, I'd like Jimmy to take a crack at it. She's jumped ship as well. She's moved on to TD Ameritrade. Okay, so you're going to thank me. You're going to thank me. I'll let Jimmy address this question if you'd like, man, please.
Thank you. Thanks for the question, Lydia. The stocks that I like, and I posted them in the chat earlier as well, are General Motors, Bank of America, Fortune Brands Home and Security, stock symbol FBHS, and two other ones, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Stock symbols FNMA and FMCC. Bank of America is currently trading around $35 a share, but I think it can be easily double. Again, do your own research, guys. I'm not a professional. I'm not a disclaimer here. I don't want to get sued or anything. You obviously have to do your own research on this, guys, but those are the stocks that I like. Fannie and Freddie are very risky stocks, guys. I have videos on my channel that you guys can check out where I get more in detail on those two stocks, but they are very risky investments. Okay.
What's your Jimmy? What's your type of investing? A lot of the guys on this channel follow a lot of dividend investors, people trying to create that passive income from the market. There are a lot of people that invest in Roth IRAs too. I know Ryan and I advocate for the Roth, like it's going out of style, until we're blue in the face, but the tax sheltered accounts. Do you have a Roth IRA?
No, I don't do the Roth. Well, through my job, that's the 401k, that's all set up. Yeah, but I leave that account alone. But my individual personal philosophy, I follow one guy.
The Godfather.
The buffet.
Yeah. Anybody, in my opinion, anybody who wants to learn about investing, true investing, should study this man. You should read everything about him. You should read his letters to shareholders. They're available online for the Berkshire Hathaway annual report. Read his letters to shareholders. And read all his biographies, which I have most of his biographies, and you will become a very good investor, in my opinion.
Sweet.
Said Ron D. Ron D's calling me stubborn. I concur. I was being stubborn. It's crazy. You come on to YouTube and you disclose those little hiccups, that you have, and I think it's to make the group that much stronger. The 7 to 8%, yeah, that's interesting. You talked about stop losses a little bit. That's definitely a tool. It's one that I don't use. It's not one I use. I've taken stocks into much deeper water than that, only to turn them into good positive trades over time. But I think there is something to be said. I think there's something to be said about understanding the risk involved with single stock investing before you even invest in single stock. There you go. Love it.
Read
awesome,
this
man.
book. You want to know about investing? Read this.
Security analysis. I like it. Thanks for the share, man. That's legit. I saw looking for all those Christmas gift ideas.
That's the answer, Money Matters. That's the answer to your question.
All right.
Very cool. Very cool, man.
He's actually in the Los Angeles library right now.
Right.
He broke in. He lives
the
there.
librarian wants to kick me out, talking too loud.
No, I don't. I love it, man. I love the opportunity to converse with a bunch of folks. It's really cool. Really appreciate you kicking on here. But,
Right, I'm gonna hop off here real fast in case anybody else wants to hop on here and join you guys. Give somebody else an opportunity. Right?
Yeah, buddy. Thank you for coming on, Jamie. Appreciate it, man. Happy New Year to you, and let's roll into 2020, man. I'm ready.
Heck yeah, man. Full steam ahead. I'm gonna hop into the chat. I'll still be here on the side with you guys.
Yeah, stick around, man, for sure.
All right, Jimmy. Nice to meet you, man.
Awesome, man. Good stuff.
I was going to talk about ETFs. I only see myself investing in ETFs if I ever wanted to get exposure to the international market. Like, for example, let's say I wanted to buy Korean stocks. Okay. I'd look at a Korean ETF. Japan stocks, I would look at the Japanese ETFs, because to me, ETFs are for exposure to a certain sector. Okay. If I want to have exposure to the energy industry, like the oil companies, I would research an ETF on that. I rarely don't do that though. I don't think I've ever invested in an ETF, but that's, in my opinion, what ETFs are for.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people get really centric about around the US market as well. Buying the S&P 500. I think that's a great broad market to be exposed to. But for the folks that follow my portfolio, they also know that I do seek out my exposure to developed markets. So your European markets, I do that. And I don't know if you followed me very long, Jimmy, on the channel, but I like the Vanguard product. That's typically what I gravitate to, just because of the low expense. There was a post in my Facebook group. The expense went down on, I think, around 20 of their funds. So some really good funds. VEA was one of them, and that's the fund I'm talking about. But emerging markets, that's another one that I own. And so getting that exposure through Vanguard, through the ETF, that's the way I do it.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think the idea is to kind of look at your portfolio, not necessarily as diversified if you're just centric around the US market, because even though that's really where I want the bulk of my money because of the regulatory oversight, I do think it's important to seek out some exposure abroad as well. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm more of an iShares fan, BlackRock.
super good.
Yeah, if I'm going to do ETFs, I think I would go that route. But again, I'm not really a fund-driven guy. I mean, I'd rather just buy individual equity stocks.
Yeah, I mean, the upside potential and the wealth generating potential of single stock investing cannot be denied either. It's just a little bit harder to lasso that opportunity, you know. And it's weird too, because you gotta be have a little tougher skin if you're gonna get into that game. You're gonna have some successes that are really gonna run for you, but not every stock you invest in is gonna do that. You know, you'll have a stock licked and it's like, geez, what happened? You got to have a short memory.
Right.
You know, I think there's a little bit of different antidote for success, I think, when you're talking about the single stock game, you know.
Yeah. But think about if you would have bought in Walmart stock in 1976. Right now you'd be a multi-million. You know what I'm saying? So that's
many of them.
Yeah.
You know, I'd go one further, and you don't even have to go back to 76, because a lot of people are like, well, yeah, if I would have owned McDonald's in the 70s, certainly I'd be a multimillionaire now.
Google
I think even more. Amen, right? Exactly. You go back 5 years on any of the major blue chips, and the returns are in the 3 figures. It's amazing. If you start putting decades on top of them, then it starts to get into the 5 and 6 figure returns. You know, and you got to be tough, and you got to hold them for that long. That's the discipline.
That's the thing, is that's what I was talking about, psychology and knowing yourself and your emotions, because that's the thing about investing. You have to know yourself and not be tempted to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, anyway. Yeah.
So what books have you read on financial history, or have you read any books on finance, or what are your top 3 books?
So I've got my 5 in the description. Actually, I link them up. Jim Cramer. I do follow Jim Cramer. I like his philosophy. He's one of the few actually on TV that mentions the prospect of self-directed investing, which is really cool. I like the Blueprint for America. That's one of my favorites. That actually leads you on to the end of the book, where they disclose the biggest secret in investing. And I don't want to ruin it for people, but it's kind of along the lines of what you're talking about. So it's kind of cool. You know, The Intelligent Investor is everybody's favorite, I think. Yep, he's got it on the shelf, legit. Yeah, you know. But you know, once you get through those reads and you're through them, I think a lot of my research now is done over the internet. So I like reading individual reports on the companies that I own.
Right.
And
do you listen to conference calls?
No, I don't. I can't say that I do. I don't.
Yeah, because that's one thing I do, and I just always fast forward to the Q&A session, because I want to see, you know, what the Goldman Sachs guys are asking these guys on the board, or the CEO or the CFOs. I want to see what questions they're asking that maybe I missed during my research.
That's pretty legit, man. I've heard that advice before, Jimmy. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. It's interesting enough, because I have a hard enough time carving out the time to come on to YouTube.
Right.
You know, let alone the time that it needs to get on that. I think I'd rather do that than listen to a podcast, to be honest with you. Yeah. But yeah, I guess if I were to get alerts on that stuff, or there was some sort of a drop point for where that information is, and I could get notifications when they're coming up, then I would be more apt to pop in an ear pod and listen to it.
Well, you can if you sign up for alerts on your email, they'll post on your email when a new event has posted for the company. You just go to investor relations on any company. You could do it for Google or Facebook or anything, and they'll send you alerts on your email, and you'll be alerted of a new what is it? A conference call or different types of reports that come out on companies.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man, for sure. Yeah. It just goes to show, honestly, there's always room to evolve as an investor. That's the crazy part about this game.
True.
Never can know it all. So,
but hey, Ryan, it was very nice meeting you.
Likewise, man.
Thank
Happy
you for
New Year
having
to
me.
you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you
Okay.
for coming on, taking the time, man. Pretty awesome. So really cool. Cool. All right. So I got Jerry says bye, bye, bye. That's awesome. Let me cruise down here. Awesome. That was a great live stream. Thank you guys, man. Once I take these Bose noise canceling headphones off, it's like I'm screaming into the mic. So I don't know if I've just spent the last 2 hours screaming at you guys. I feel like I'm dialing down the volume as I'm closing out the live stream. So thank you for the folks that have made their way in and made the collaboration. This will be something that we do. I would like to keep it to that number. I think that's awesome. Gives those folks opportunity to come on, connect the world, different perspectives. I like that. That was really cool. Yeah, I think I disclosed everything for my perspective going into 2020. And I know you guys have been kind of talking amongst yourselves, and I've been cruising through some of the questions, but I think it's just been a killer collaboration. If there's nobody else who wants to kick on at the end of this live stream, I know it's not the premiere hours. It's kind of like the nosebleed seats. You're totally welcome to do so. But I think we're going to do this going forward. So you guys know that if you saw kind of the forum, how we did it, how we rotate folks in, how we get different perspectives shared through the thread, and allow those folks the opportunity to come on and provide their testimonial as well. I think that's important for the message. Everybody's got a different perspective. That's the cool thing about this gig. But we'll be doing the live stream again next Friday as well, not to miss a beat. I really appreciate everybody who's made their way in here tonight. Obviously, we're going to probably look to wind this thing down. I don't see anybody else here, but if you do want the opportunity, it's going to be open. It's going to be like a chair. And basically when you pop into the studio here, I can see the second that you pop in. All right. If you don't really feel that comfortable popping on live, I would open up the opportunity before 9 o'clock to actually kick on when we're not live. And that can be an opportunity to just talk to me. That would be fine too. My availability is kind of spotty all the way up until about 9 o'clock when I jump on. But I will throw that out there as well. If somebody wants to come on and test the software before they go live, they're more than willing to do that. And, just like, Jimmy's sitting in a home office somewhere and decided to pop on. And Jerry, thanks for making your way on. And Jamie and Ben, thank you very much, man. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun tonight. Great way to put a cap on 2019. I hope you guys heard the cross dialogue with myself and Jamie. I thought it was important. He asked me carte blanche. What should I do, Ryan, if I was in your shoes? Okay. I'm not one of those folks that's going to give a politically correct answer. Okay. Like I said at the top of the live stream, I call a spade a spade. Okay. If somebody wants to come onto the channel and throw venom at me, they can. But I would rather them get my personal number and they can call me directly, which most people would coward to that opportunity. But if Jamie asks me, say, hey, what do you think about this? Should I move away from M1 Finance? The beautiful thing about the investing opportunity now was realized in 2019. The opportunity to seek out low cost entry to the market has never, ever been better. What I fear is that a lot of people are going to be excited about entering into the market now. Okay, it's up at 28, 29%. And historically, people have always taken this opportunity or excuse to jump into the market now And all I would consider at this point is to make sure that you're prepared to do so. If you're not prepared to do so, or you think there might be a prospect of the market being at an all-time high and us maybe entering into the potential for a recession or a bear market, which is probably more likely, there's certainly going to be some corrections going into 2020, as there was in 2019. Okay, use scale. If you're a beginning investor and you're looking to enter into the market at 2020 into 2020, use scale. You don't have to jump in with all of your nest egg right away. Seek out some participation in the market. Like Jerry said, most people won't. Most people will live their entire lives never having understood or thought it was capable or understanding their full potential when scrutinizing the investment opportunity for themselves. And for whatever reason, they don't ever opt to participate in the opportunity. All right. So use some scale. Everything is relative. And that's one thing that you really have to take away from these collaborations is that myself and some of the channel creators that have come on as guests, some of the folks in the thread tonight that have come on and visited the channel, everybody's coming from a different perspective. They really are. And I typically try to shy away from the, hey, this is the right way and your way is the wrong way. Certainly there's room for disagreement with regard to how we can search out some opportunity. There was some of that tonight, actually. And I offer that to generate those conversations. Maybe if there was a mistake made by me, maybe it's something that you look at and say, wow, it's interesting that Ryan disclosed that mistake. Maybe it's something that I might want to just avoid for myself by maybe opting for. If it helps you define your tolerance to the market by being more passive and maybe entering into more of a passive type of profile for yourself, I give you all the nuts and bolts, okay? I don't mind disclosing some of those problems with some of the single stock opportunities that I've sought out. Did I take a chance? Yeah, I did. Did some of them work out? Yes, they did. Did some of them not work out? Yes. Okay. That's part of the gig. And hopefully we can put these levels of risk assigned to each of these different profiles. So maybe you can understand and be that much more educated with what level of risk it requires to enter into more of a single stock profile as opposed to a passive profile. All right, guys. So with that said, we're going on 2 hours. I'll go ahead and sign off. This is a great segue into 2020. We're going to continue working it into 2020. I just want to thank and give a special shout out to all the channel creators, first and foremost, that have come on and they were guests. I'd like to thank Joe Carlson, who's really one of my favorite channels. I did send an invite to my #1 featured channels. He promised to actually come on and be a guest on the channel as well. He's a friend of mine. I will not disclose who that is, but you'll be impressed to know that this channel creator who's got over 500,000 subscribers is just another person like me and you. And that's the common thread that we all have in the community, all trying to really just better our own situations and enrich our own personal lives, man, while we're trying to do this gig the very best that we can. So with that said, guys, I will say Happy New Year to all you guys. Be safe with your partying. Keep it to a minimum. All right, money matters. You hear me, Jamie? Just kidding. Appreciate all you guys' involvement tonight, and we'll catch you next Friday for the next live stream /collaboration. Guys, take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take it easy.